wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Yes, it's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God, Jess Hilarious, DJ Envy is off, and Loren LoRosa is at court following Diddy's trial. But we have a special guest here, Lynae Vanee. What's happening, Lynae?
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good.
You know, I'm sure that y'all see Lynae all the time. Her parking lot pimping episodes have come across your feed in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But now you got a show called The People's Brief.
Yeah.
On Revolt, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. What's the difference between The People's Brief and parking lot pimping?
One thing, we got more time. It's 45 minutes. It's also not so, every week news headline. It's more so evergreen. Things that are happening in the news, but things that we can talk about over the course of time because they affect us every day. Mm-hmm. And just giving people more tools. I feel like on social media, I've always tried to be more information heavy and just provide a positive outlook. But now that we got more time, we want to try to provide resources too and answers to questions and not just complaints.
How different is it from parking lot pimping?
I won't say it's too different. I still get to say what I want to say. TV 14, so less cussing. But the team over there want to do what I want to do, and that's like give everybody the truth and be helpful. We kind of take the same oath doctors do no harm, and as much as we can. The tone is the same, but it's really cool because it's newsy, but it's not. I never taken a traditional approach to things, so it's like a mix of 60 Minutes and Tonight with John Oliver, The Daily Show, a little bit of Amber Ruffin, but with me. Yeah.
So it's well-rounded.
It's very well-rounded. We have a lot of fun. The first episode premiered, what's today? Thursday. Premiered this week, Tuesday. And I had Angela Rye on as my first guest. That was amazing.
Who's my good sister, Angela Rye?
Yeah, we get out in the field, do some man on the street, but a lot of good people come through, and we have a lot of fun.
Did you want to keep Parking Lot Pimpin' as the show for Revolt, like the title of the show?
No.
Or did you want to make it something else?
I wanted it to be something else. I think the identity of it transfers because it's still me. But it needed to be something different. It needed to be an evolution, so I was cool. Yeah. And I still get to do the parking lot. I don't know how often, because as you see, I'm here. Yeah. It's just like my weeks look different now, but I've always said the parking lot is never going to leave. It's something crazy. They riot on the Capitol another January 6th. I pull out my chair and I do some content. But we're just figuring out the flow.
Do you have a random parking lot you go to? Or you
it's mine, where I live.
It's your okay.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to ask you, Lynae? How do you know when to educate, when to entertain, and when to rest?
Ooh, child, I don't know. Resting is new to me. It's been a new endeavor. When I say new, maybe the past couple of years, because I've just had to be so much more intentional about it. But I speak to things when I feel it's necessary, and I'm real in tune with the Lord. I used to say, stay in tune with your star player, as Cat Williams says. But yeah, everything that I speak to, I make sure that I'm not just trying to be the first one to speak my opinion on something or just offer something to the doom scroll. How can I make this conversation useful? How can I make this something? How can I provide another tool? And like I said, it's easy to find confident that makes you feel bad. How can I make people feel good? And more often than that, especially now that I have a team to help me concoct these stories, it's less on me, so it's less taxing. Yeah.
Do you write from a place of anger or hope or exhaustion?
All three of them. And it's funny you say that. Did y'all see Inside Out too?
Oh, hell yeah.
No, not two.
Okay. Well, if you've seen them, then you get the concept. I had my friends say who's at our leaderboard, and everybody said my top three are anger, disgust, and joy, because of the way that I see things. I'm real big on character above anything, and the way you contribute to society above anything. So more often than not, I'm disgusted, and more often than not, that makes me exhausted. And a lot of things make me angry, but I also think anger is a valid emotion, and it doesn't always have to present in a way that is heavy. It's just what it is. I'm a Black woman in America. A lot of things make me upset, and I should be able to say that without being made to feel like I have to cover up my emotions in any particular way. But I think the method of storytelling we uses combines all those things in a beautiful way that also shows that we're more than our anger, we're more than our joy, we're more than our exhaustion, we're more than our disgust, and we can be all things at one time and still be full functioning members of society.
Absolutely.
How did you end up at Revolt? How did that happen?
Good people speaking my name in good rooms. I've been very blessed to have a good team no matter what I'm working on, and they've been fighting for me in different rooms. I've been pitching different versions of shows, whether it's scripted, unscripted, for the past 5 years, and nothing's just been the right fit. But as I said, I be in tune with the Lord, and he told me at the end of the last year to stop trying to force things and to just put stuff down and let him work. And as soon as I said, okay, wasn't even expecting it, 2 weeks later, I got a call and said, Revolt wants to give you a show. I was like, what?
Wow.
Okay. And my hands were open, so I was ready to receive it. So that's how we ended up together.
I wonder, for somebody like you, Lynae, what do you do when you feel like your words aren't enough?
I don't feel like my words aren't enough.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm okay with that. My contribution, as long as I do my best, I'm okay with that, whatever the result is, because whatever I was supposed to contribute is all I was supposed to contribute, because it's not just up to me. It's not just up to anybody. Like, we all have a piece to the puzzle to create the fuller picture, and sometimes it may feel like it didn't hit the way it was supposed to hit, but you got to give things time. Like the seeds you sow always have their time for harvest, and I've just learned to be content and patient with my contribution.
So sometimes you feel like it's like a call to action almost, like you might activate the person who might go out there and actually get active.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I feel like my lane is. I feel like my job is to impart information, to bring as many people to the table as possible, to make them invested, to make them excited, and those are the people that go out and do something with it. Even when I left my master's program, my professors told me I was only going to be able to make money or make a life for myself if I continued to get my PhD, and that's not what I felt called to do. I immediately wanted to go and share with very young people all the things that I learned in my program that I had to pay $25,000 and take out loans to get, with all these real stuffy people that may not have the best methods as far as connecting with the general public. But I was like, if I can impart this in high school students, they can apply to college, they can go on career paths that, with the knowledge, with a fuller knowledge of their capacity and ability and vocabulary and nuance, to be change agents. So that's all I've ever wanted to do. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm grateful for that.
And as a Spelman grad, congratulations. I love that. What part of that HBCU experience has shaped your voice?
Well, at Spelman, we got a saying, it's my choice and I choose to change the world. And it's funny, I've told this story so many times, but when I was first applying, I had teachers at my high school telling me they didn't think I should go. They didn't think that I would get in because it was too expensive, that it wasn't the real world. But we shouldn't be encouraging our kids en masse to go to school to learn how to plug into the way things already exist. Like, we need to be disruptors. We need to be change agents. And that's what my HBCU did for me. I was a psychology student, but every single class you take, whether it's the biology of women, whether it's math, finite math, or whatever, computer science, you take it through the lens of Black feminism. And so we have a vantage point that allows us to see everybody's pain. And it just makes us, that's why we be the best applicants for the job most of the time, most suited for the job most of the time, because we see people. And so my HBCU experience really allowed me to see what people need in order to feel seen, and I try to put that in my storytelling as well.
How do you navigate being both a political educator, but also a cultural influencer in an algorithm-driven world?
Well, politics was never my game. It was never my choice. You couldn't touch me with politics with a 10-foot pole. It just became necessary. So, like I said, I've always been driven by what's necessary, and I started this work to really be steeped in pop culture and connect that to history through an interdisciplinary lens. But as I started in 2020, so politics was just like thrust upon us in a real way. And so I challenged myself to say, like, okay, I know that we need to understand this, so how can I incorporate this into what I do? And it just became even more and more and more necessary. So I just think, because I speak to people like we cousins, like we family, because I don't try to hit people over the head with it, and because I let myself feel all the things like a regular person feels, the algorithm can't beat the content that I'm putting out.
Right.
Yeah, like I draw people regardless, and people sharing it in their family group chats, grandmas and aunties and kids in 7th grade and high school students, all like talking about what was on the parking lot this week. And I'm really grateful for that, because it's not about me and my parking lot. It's really about the information being shared. So I'm grateful for the anointing that's been put on me that's allowed, no matter what's changed in the social media landscape, people to come to the parking lot every Friday.
I love when black people say we not political, or you say politics not your bag. Because when you black in this country, everything is politics. Like, I don't care what hood you from. I don't care what rural area you from in the South. Yeah. Everybody, from your drunk uncle, your crackhead cousin, everybody's talking about what's going on in that system and how the government is fucking us in some way, shape, or form. So it's just like you can't avoid having that conversation.
And that's what I learned. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What's one political issue you think just we've become too performative about and not solution-oriented enough about?
I think voting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying voting is the only tool. It is 75% of the work, organizing and sustaining that movement. I would actually take that back. It's sustainability period in terms of how we organize, in terms of how we fight back against political oppression, because we often wait the 4-year cycle to begin to complain about what we don't like about candidates, and then are upset when we're not able to show up in full force and vote together and that make a difference. Yeah. I don't think that we give ourselves the opportunity for our work to return to us in a good way, because unfortunately, a lot of times we are motivated by rage and sadness, and we want to get active when things hit close to home, but something is always hitting close to home for everybody. And if we don't learn to act as a community and have this sort of sustained, Garrison Hayes said in a segment in my episode this past Tuesday, he said, these people don't let up. They've been strategizing, they don't stop strategizing, so why should we? Right. And especially if we're already playing catch up, like it's never a day when we should just be like, oh, the struggle will be here tomorrow, but that means you should also be strategizing for tomorrow. And it's not to say that your life has to be completely shaped by that, because I say often, like, my friends think I'm single now, and they're like, so what, you want like a Mark Lamont Hill? No, like, no shade to Mark, he's great, but I don't need that to encompass my entire life. Like, I'm still a human being, so I'm not saying that you got to live, breathe, die, fight the power, but you do have to have some things ingrained in the way that you move about your day, period, to understand that the work never stops. So we just got to find that balance.
And for you, I want somebody who knows that women can have babies.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting. There are other people who can have babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if they have a uterus, they can have babies, but they just might not identify as woman.
Okay.
Those are two different things. Like, you can be biologically female, but you can't be biologically woman, because woman is a gender construct, a social construct. But if you got a uterus, you can have a baby.
Yes, that's the point. If you have a uterus, you can have a baby.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we agree on that.
Lynae, has the Democratic Party tried to co-opt your platform or message yet? Because I was reading this article in the New York Times yesterday, and the headline is "Democrats Throw Money at a Problem." Jesus Christ, I just had it up. But it basically is how they're paying influencers, and they're trying to figure out how to utilize the internet and deliver messaging like you do.
They are late in the game. I think people got to understand is Republicans have been using people with a microphone for years to just disseminate misinformation. So it's not even like that's not a tool that shouldn't be used, because we do have to have some opposition. They haven't tried to buy me. No, I only talk to people I want to talk to. Like, there's no amount of money, there's no check that just would make me want to like jump on the bandwagon, especially because I have critiques. I got to be able to say whatever I want to say. Right. And the Democratic Party definitely got some things that need to be worked on. I had the honor of working with some good people in the CBC, and that's the other thing. Like, we live in America. There's no institution that's got it right or has always had it right from jump. So I don't sit here and act like I absolutely have to agree with something a body has done since its conception. But if I'm working with people who I understand are genuine in their efforts, like, I'm down with that. Because like I said, I'm trying to be solution-oriented and do no harm in as much as I can.
And you mentioned Garrison earlier. I like Garrison a lot, too. Have y'all ever thought about being in politics? You, the Garrisons of the world? Yeah,
not me. I'm not sure what Garrison has planned. I have met some influencers who are interested in that work. I just don't think it's personally my calling.
Why?
Like I said, I think my role is to inspire. And my role is to work alongside when we look at the people who have been a part of our story as far as Black history goes. We got people in every industry, and I think we forget that. It's not just about politics. It's also about who is singing songs. It's also about who's acting on TV screens, because even like the Breakfast Club, who's listening to you guys speak every day, like we all have a role in getting people engaged in the process, and we have to be in the marketplace in mass and in different ways to be able to exercise enough influence to get people focused back in on the problem. So I'm just one of those people, and I consider myself more of an artist than anything, a storyteller. As I said, I'm getting back into my poetry and spoken word, but that's what I feel called and set to do.
When you were at Spelman, what was your major?
Psychology.
Oh, you wanted to be a therapist, psychiatrist?
Absolutely not. I wanted to understand people.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you majored in psychology just to be able to understand people?
Absolutely.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly it worked.
Praise God.
What is some challenges that, because this is a big responsibility. You have a show, a weekly show, having to come up with this content, whether it is, like, I know it's a bunch of different things that you do, but it's still, and it's a longer time, is there, or are there any challenges that you run into having to have everything together, when it ain't nothing going on? What do you?
Oh, it's always something going on. But I think I have a team. It's not just me. So we got about 5 writers on the show, and we ideate. We're really never not talking to each other, but we pick these themes that honestly could use 3 to 4 episodes, but we try to pick out the subtopics that make the most sense for the story we're trying to tell in that one episode. And I think the biggest challenge right now, since we're brand new, is bringing people to the table to have a conversation with us, like booking guests. We're also in Atlanta, and people travel through Atlanta all the time, but they don't stop and stay all the time. So we're hoping, though, with what we've done so far, we're able to build a portfolio that makes people be like, dang, I'm going through Atlanta. Let me see if I can stop by the People's Reef, just like people want to stop by the Breakfast Club. So we're working towards it. We're figuring it out. But, I just think the hardest part is adjusting, because we want to be ahead, and it's hard to stay ahead when you want to do it right, because things take time. But we'll figure it out.
You said something that's so interesting to me. You said you went to Spelman. You majored in psychology because you wanted to understand people. I never went to college, but I did try to attend a couple of technical schools in my area, Charleston, South Carolina. Tried in technical college. One time I went for communications. One time I went for business. One time I went for psychology. And I went because of that reason. I wanted to understand myself, and I wanted to understand other people. Yeah. So what did you want to understand about people exactly?
Behavior, what drives behavior, also what affects behavior. And you find out, one of the biggest arguments is nature versus nurture. And you just find out all the things that contextualize those two things, whether it's your upbringing, whether it's like innate things you might inherit. Also, like what socioeconomic stressors that have affected your family long term that can result in yield in specific behaviors, or even psychotic breaks or what have you. We don't have to get too deep into that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, and I also was a person, I grew up in the Deep South Baptist. I didn't really understand that much about therapy. And I remember in one of my first classes, I was like, yeah, that's cool and all. I want to learn about bipolar disorder, but like Black people don't really get that, right? And it was like, no, girl, we all are exposed to these sort of things. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, it just really helped me understand emotions, and like I said, the validity of them, and giving them space to exist, and what can trigger you and what can't, and then also how outside stressors like race, like gender, like sexuality or whatever also contribute to a person's well-being. And I think, saying it right now, I think what I just want most is for Black people to be well, no matter what you look like, no matter who you with, no matter how you move throughout your life. I want us to be well, and I want us to be invested in the wellness of one another, because the object and goals of oppression is to make us sick, to make us distracted. And if we are focused on one another's wellness and wholeness, then we can be stronger than ever.
Do you remember one of the first textbooks they gave you at Spelman?
Yeah. What? ADW in the world. The African diaspora in the world. We all had to take an introductory class where we learned about just the experience of Black people around the globe. How it's not just us experiencing things, and how oppression looks similar for us, and not just people who identify as Black, just darker skinned people around the globe because of case systems and things like that.
What about in regards to psychology? Because I remember they gave us psychology by David Myers.
I don't know if I remember too much about my psychology textbooks, because my master's was in African American studies, and that's what's most salient. But if anything, I remember is that damn DSM.
I don't know that one.
The Diagnostic Manual. basically has all the disorders, like psychological disorders in it. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
What's a moment where you realized your influence was having real world consequences, for better or worse?
Real world consequences. Honestly, because I started during the pandemic, we was all inside, so I didn't get to see people. But when we started to trickle back outside, and unfortunately Atlanta was among the first to get back outside, when people started meeting me and just like crying, like talking about like how either I changed their perspective on something or I helped heal a relationship in their family, or even really what it was. I think I was invited to speak somewhere at a school, and an older woman about 60 years old, she took me to the side and she thanked me for saying things she never got to say when she was my age. And that was really beautiful. Yeah.
What's something you've never said in Parking Lot Pimpin' because you knew people weren't ready for it?
I don't think there's nothing I've said. I say what I want to say.
Say what you-
And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's scary for me. Like, for instance, when October 7th happened, just not really being ignorant and also knowing, like, the necessity to discuss these things in a call was strong. Like, also with my management being like, I don't know what you should say and I don't know what you shouldn't say, and maybe we should just like bow out, and also seeing other creators get like flamed or canceled for not saying anything at all. So sometimes it's hard, but I don't not say the things. I had a mentor tell me once to always pray for a tongue of clay so that I'm speaking whatever God puts on my heart to say and it's not coming from me. So that also helps me feel less responsibility. But yeah.
Have you ever said something that you, I guess, would say after it's said, and after, you get like, I guess, some type of backlash, like, well, maybe they weren't ready to hear that, so I should have said that later?
No, we don't got time. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, we just don't have time. And even if the first time you hear me say it and you don't like it, and that's your introduction to it, I know it's going to be brought up again, and you've had some sort of, some point of reference. So whoever they're able to get the point across from is fine, because again, it's not about you agreeing with what comes out of my mouth. I'm not responsible to people in that way.
Have you ever felt like you had to like shrink your truth to protect your peace?
Not shrink my truth, but sometimes I just be quiet. Right. Yeah, sometimes I don't feel the need to argue with folks. Yeah.
What's something you think you've outgrown as a creator, even if your audience has?
I think early on I outgrew the need to feel like I was always on time or in time with the demands of social, because like I said, I just want to be responsible with what I'm saying and give myself time to research and learn about what's going on before I say something about it. Yeah.
How do you, everybody likes to say for the culture. How do you define being for the culture in a time when culture is constantly commodified?
I speak to the originators of the culture. I speak to the heart of it, the seat of it, the ground up. I meet people where they are. Yeah, I think, as I said, also, I think I might have a different definition of it because not everybody agrees like what the priorities of the culture are. But as again, I'm interested in protecting all Black bodies and speaking up for all Black bodies. So that's how I define culture.
I like the idea of people's brief. I would love to see Lynae in settings. I'm talking to you like you're not sitting right here, but I'd love to see you in settings to where like you're debating people in a way. Not debating because you debate your equals. Everybody else you teach. So I think a lot of times on these platforms you need people who are actually speaking truth to power and teaching folks. You ever thought about like going to some of those spaces maybe?
No.
Mixing it up on Abby Phillips' show or.
No, because I mean, sometimes I just feel like a lot of that is baiting. I feel like a lot of it is unnecessary waste of time and breath, because some people don't have, they come into rooms knowing they're not going to change their mind, and they're coming in their rooms with misinformation as their goal to spread. So me personally, that's not my give. I think someone like the Conscious Lee, he's very good at that, and I let people do what they do best. Yeah. The
Conscious Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lynae Vanee, host of the People's Brief every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Revolt. And I guess we get Parking Lot Pimpin' when we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Where do they follow you at?
You can follow me everywhere at Lynae Vanee. You can tap into the show on Revolt TV. You can also watch us at 11 a.m. the next day on streaming, and then snippets of it on YouTube.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's Lynae Vanee. It's The Breakfast Club.
Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.